First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is David Manso, and I work as front-end developer in the Empathy X team. And well, today I'm going to talk about Vue unit testing. So, well, this workshop is focused on the academy guys, and I will try to answer to everything they ask before. And well, if I don't, just ask during the session or at the end, or well, you can pick me through Slack. Okay, so this is the agenda for today. Firstly, I will start talking about how important is testing, its main objectives, general guidances, and finally, I will talk about different levels of testing. Secondly, I will mention testing frameworks recommended by Vue.js. Then we will explore what Vue test utils are and how to work with them. And well, finally, I will perform a live demo in which we will see these frameworks of libraries in action. Okay. So yeah, testing introduction. Well, much of this content was taken from a document that of the International Software Testing Qualification Board, the syllabus level that Mavi shared with me. So thank you so much. Well, let me show you the document. Okay. Yeah, it's a very interesting and long document in which talks about any level of testing, global concepts and definitions. So, well, this and any other resources will be in the last slides as links. So if you have time, take a look to it because it is really interesting. Okay, so yeah, the first slide. Yeah, I want to talk about the importance of testing. Why is testing necessary and important? Yeah, one of the objectives for today is to make you see how important is testing, not just with the speech, also with the demo. Testing is, in my opinion, one of the most important parts of software development, and however many times it is forgotten or just excluded. So, well, software systems are everywhere, from smaller applications to more complex applications like, I don't know, healthcare software systems, airplanes, trains, cars. So, well, almost everything has software implemented on it. Well, not having a good strategy, good testing strategy, the failures can lead to problems like loss of money or even the death. So where does the risks come from? Well, I have summarized them in three. Well, first, the human factor. We have to keep in mind that software is developed by people who can make mistakes, who can forget details, or just receive unexpected inputs, well, which makes the software not working as expected. So testing reduces these scenarios, these failures, and well, we cannot prevent all of them, but we can reduce them. The projects. Well, apart from the own human factor, the time pressure, inexperience, the developers, miscommunication between the different parts, the participants, tech debt, are some of the factors that can also influence in these failures. So, well, we have to test every single part of the project, and well, not just the code. And finally, the requirements. Testing not only consists of running tests and checking the result that the software executes, but it also includes reviewing the product, the requirements, and the stakeholder needs. So, well, this is a way to make sure that everything, all the requirements, have been fulfilled, and well, it's good for the product. So, well, I've been working in many projects before Empathy. We test a lot in Empathy, in which well, testing was excluded due to a lack of time, for example. And well, I saw that as the project became bigger, I could see how unmaintainable was with lots of bugs, which implied many hours to debug failures, defects, and to fix them. Random behaviors, difficulty to change anything. So I recommend to include testing time in your time estimations and transmit to the higher level profiles how important is testing. So even not giving that relevance costs more. Okay. So the objectives of testing can vary depending on the target. I talk about healthcare software system. For example, need more strict tests than a web application. And among the most significant, I have selected this. The first one, failures. The first, I think one of the main objectives of testing is to reduce and prevent failures, building confidence around the product. The second, verify that all the requirements have been fulfilled and check that all the specifications, all the contracts are met. And at this point, TDD could be useful for this because you can define test cases to check each requirement and requirement in terms from component to more abstract levels. So tests are nothing but requirement conditions that we need to pass to fulfill them. So for those who are not familiar with TDD, TDD is a process in which we first write a test, make the test run, the test to fail, and we have to change the code, we have to refactor the code in order to make the test work. And we have to repeat this with each feature. Okay. So coming back to the objectives, yeah, risks. Testing also gives us information about how risk is or not releasing the application, and at any point we can decide to release it or not, or just do it, but be in consequence with the problems that the possible errors we could have. Finally, testing help us to evaluate the software design beyond code. In my opinion, you might notice that that the code is grown when a test is becoming too complex or it is not isolated completely. So it doesn't smell good. So also, or even though we have to follow solid principles like single responsibility or open close, sometimes we need to change the code. And testing help us in this refactor process because testing alert us if something is failing after it, if our change is breaking something. So we cannot ensure that everything is fine, but it helps us to do it. Okay. Okay. As a general guidelines, we can identify 7 testing principles. The first one, testing shows the presence of defects, not their absence. So we have to reduce the amount of defects, but we cannot prove that there are no defects. So for this, I would recommend to practice pair programming or just in the pull request, two eyes see more than one. So more people can identify more cases, but we cannot prove the absence of them. Okay, exhaustive testing is impossible. Yeah, it means that we cannot cover all the possible input combinations or conditions, except for the simpler cases or the trivial cases. But we can focus on the most dangerous. So we have to prior that critical features or areas where there can be more failures. And early testing saves time and money. Yeah, so as soon as we detect and fix defects, failure, less cost it will have to do it. So if we leave something to be fixed later, we will drag this this problem to the rest of the features if they depend on it. And related to that, it is the fourth principle, the threads clustered together. So if you find one defect in a module, it is worth looking for others, as well as consider reviewing the related tests done before. So if you find an error and you don't find it and you don't fix it, any other component or module that uses it won't work as expected to. Okay, 5, pesticide paradox. Yeah, repeating tests with the same conditions is not effective as pesticides are not after a while. So first, I would recommend to test with different conditions or inputs, even if there are similar initial conditions. We should try with different ones. Well, and finally, as we have to add new test conditions as the real data change. I mean, if we are expecting a new kind of input, we should create a test for it. Okay. Yeah, we have to focus on these cases in which in the edge cases in which that can make the application crash. Okay. Well, testing is context dependent. I talk about, again, healthcare system. A healthcare system is more safety critical software, so well, it's a different context and we have to treat it differently. Having a good test environment is important, and it should be similar to production. So, well, we have to take decisions in depending on the context. And lastly, absence of errors fallacy. Yeah, following paragraph 2, we can say that it's impossible to avoid every defect, but although we have covered everything, it doesn't mean that the product works well. Well, we can have no errors in our software, and our tests can pass perfectly, but the application could not work as expected. Okay. Okay, testing process. Yeah, this is an example of how a testing process can be split. Well, it can be split in different steps. We can define these steps to achieve good testing strategies, but well, you can take it as you want. So, well, the first step, planning, to define the objectives that we are looking for or we need, and to give an approach of how we are going to manage the process to achieve our goals. Second, control and monitoring, to discuss the results from metrics, to review the process regarding the plan defined in the previous step. Well, to change everything if something is not working well. Analysis, to determine what to test, the requirements and the specifications. And design implementation, to focus on how to test, the test cases that we got from the previous step, designing the test environment, describing the tools needs, etc. And yeah, it's usually done with at the same time that the implementation, in my opinion. Implementation is the part that we are more familiar with, and in which we will focus this live demo. And well, in my opinion, it's not the most difficult part. Well, you sometimes have to deal with complex situations, but then after you do it once, after you have learned how to do something, it will be easy in the future. So this part is focused on developing the test, build the test environment, and ensure that the test execution will work. Finally, it's important to automate everything as we can to avoid the human factor again. want to reduce inefficient costs, so we can also do it in this part. Okay, notice that there are different colors. They are grouped by colors because, in my opinion, sometimes these steps are done together. Okay. Okay. Finally, the execution step. Well, in this step, we run the tests, create it, and analyze the results. We have to take, we have to take decisions. What to do with the results. We have to if we have to refactor something, we have to make something reusable, etc. And the last step, completion, briefly to create just a summary report and to check that all the defects reported are fixed. Okay. Okay, test levels. We can apply the knowledge about the parts of the testing that I have just described, except the planning, which is common for every test level. Um, and its level groups tests that have the same objective. Also, um, the way that they work technically is the same. So there are many different test levels, but I'm just explaining unit testing and integration testing. Okay. So unit testing, component testing. I would like to explain first the difference. Unit testing and component testing are not exactly the same, but we usually treat them as if they were. So in short, in unit testing, we do white box testing, which is focused on the code and how is it done. So this part or this kind of testing is usually done by a developer. And component testing focuses on the functionality. So we do black box testing in which we test the functionality of the application without peering into its internal structures. And this kind of testing is usually done by a tester. So after explaining this, the targets of the unit testing or among the main objectives, find defects in the component or the unit, such as incorrect functionality, errors, unexpected behaviors, bad code, everything that has to be debugged and fixed. Prevent defects, prevent these defects from escaping to higher test levels because, when we are composing a bigger piece with small pieces of code, this is important. And finally, verify that the component or unit works as expected when it was designed, so it accomplishes the requirements. Okay, this kind of testing is isolated from the rest of the application, or it should be. So we have to mock every dependency needed. We have to think about how much we should split a component in smaller parts, because sometimes we can't reduce it as much as we want, because these dependencies, these dependencies between these atoms, these small pieces of codes start to grow, making the testing more difficult. So these kind of decisions are part of the development process, but it also affects to the testing process. So TDD could be useful here again. Okay, integration testing. Well, as an assignment, it's focused on the integration between this small piece of code as a unit, as a group. Again, about the name, it's not the same end-to-end and integration test. In a end-to-end tests, we automatically simulate the user behavior with a robot or with a bot that imitates the user behavior. And an integration test can just check the functionality of the union of those small pieces, okay? Well, its objectives are basically the same, but in a different context. And end-to-end tests are mainly used to test complete use cases, to test if we have a good user experience in which there are different modules involved composing a big system. Yeah, in this kind of test, there are many factors tested at the same time: components, modules, infrastructure, architecture, functional requirements, etc. So with this kind of tests, we can find bad communication between these components or interfaces and handle errors, unfulfilled business requirements, incorrect data, etc. So, well, it answers to the question when to use unit tests and end-to-end tests, but well, every application is different and they can have different needs in terms of testing. So as as a first approach, especially in Vue, I would recommend to use unit testing for components, plugins, small functionalities, and end-to-end testing for the integration test to cover complete use cases and especially to imitate users' behaviors. Okay. So, well, how can we simplify this? How can we have a global vision for this? Yeah, at the right of the slide, there is the Mike Cohn's pyramid. Mike Cohn is one of the contributors of the Scrum software development method, and he defined the test pyramid, uh, which is a visual metaphor. So we can interpret that we should write tests with different granularity, and we should write lots of small unit tests and few high-level tests. Unit tests are faster, so they are cheaper, and unit tests are more isolated from the rest of the application. So, well, this ensures a decoupled system. Okay. So let's move to the next section. Yeah, testing frameworks. Well, the Vue ecosystem recommends some frameworks to make testing easier, including both unit and end-to-end testing, but you can use the one you want. So first, talking about unit testing, Jest is my favorite test runner, my favorite framework. Jest is a JavaScript testing framework, a test runner developed by Facebook. And well, it is recommended by Vue. And well, among its features, well, it's fast because it tries to run the tests in parallel, and well, it tries to run the previously failed test first. So you don't have to run the entire suite again, okay? It returns rich context when a test fails, providing useful information that help us to reduce the debugging time, printing in most of cases detailed information about the expected and the received part. We can see it in the second screenshot. This green part is the expected part, and this red part is the received part. And well, this is a very simple example, but um, we can have more complex objects, and this feature is very useful. Okay, it's simple. So the learning curve is soft, and the API provided with very powerful features makes unit testing really easy. Uh, you need to check that values meet certain conditions. So the expect methods gives you the access to lots of matchers that let you validate different things. The only difficult thing here is to know which matcher is in each case. Okay, yeah. For example, there is the matcher to be is used for comparing primitive values and also checking instance references. And the matcher to equal is used for performing to perform a deep equal comparison. So, well, if you take a look at their website, here in the docs part, you have an introduction with many different groups of matchers, and here in the API section, you can well, see all of them. Okay, here, sorry. There are many different matchers to any different situation. Okay. Well, it provides us many different ways to mock functions in order to spy a function call or just to mock a function with our own implementation. We will see it in the demo. And well, you also have information about it in their website. Well, it's an open source. It is an open source software with many contributors that also maintain a great documentation. So, well, for me, it's my favorite test runner, and I would recommend to use it. If this is not enough for you, you can take a look to, well, there are many different uh, plugins or libraries done by the community. For example, well, sorry, if you need more measures, you can take a look to just extend it, and you will have more matches. Well, for example, to be array matcher, this can be easily done with the current matchers in the default GS library. But well, it's like a shortcut, and well, if you need something of them, can be useful for you. There are also, I would recommend to take a look to Awesome Jest, which is a GitHub repo in which you have many different, well, here it is the Jest extended, but you have here many different plugins, runners, and many different tools to use with Jest. Okay. And well, if it is not enough, you can take a look to Mocha. Well, Mocha is also recommended by the Vue community, by the Vue docs, and it's more flexible. But that flexibility implies that you have to choose or you have to set up libraries for assertions, spying, or mocking, while just has them predefined. But well, it depends on your needs. Okay. End-to-end testing. I'd like to open. Well, yeah. For end-to-end, we recommend many different frameworks. Cypress is one of the most popular in the Vue community, and yeah, is my favorite one too. And well, we can imitate the user behavior in order to test what happens when a user interacts with the application. So we can imitate the real user behavior, validating all the layers of the application. Well, for those who don't know Cypress, here it is a video. Okay, so what this is Cypress running, and you can see the user interaction in real time with a browser that, well, it's open for it. You can test with different browsers, and this means that you can also even use the browser dev or the dev tools or any debug tool. Okay. Cypress is one of the most popular used for Vue, but well, also Nightwatch or Test Cafe are very relevant. There was a time when Cypress didn't support many different browsers, but so there were alternatives to Cypress. So I'm not going to focus on their features, as this workshop is focusing unit testing, but I would like to mention this recent feature that that our mate Pedro shared with us last week. Yeah, it's a component test runner, and well, it can be used separated or together from the Cypress end-to-end test runner. For this runner, we have to mount the component, and for the test runner, we have to visit a website, well, not a website, a URL, and then do the test. Well, I have not done too much, but it's great because there are behaviors or APIs that can be tested with Jest actually. With this runner, there is no GSDOM. GSDOM is the JavaScript engine used by Jest to emulate browser behavior. And well, the tests are performed in a real browser. So we won't need polyfills or, I don't know, anything to complete the GSDOM features. So, well, we'll have to take a look to it. Okay. So, yeah, I'm going to talk about testing libraries. Okay, well, in order to test a view component, we need to mount it and get access to its specific features, to the own instance, and well, to the plugins like Vuex or the router. So, well, Vue Test Utils is the official testing library for Vue.js. Well, it's a set of functions to simplify testing with these components. Basically, it provides a method to mount a Vue component, which returns a wrapper object, and well, this object exposes different methods to make testing easier, as we will see in the demo. Okay, so well, you can also take a look to their website. It is a very complete documentation here, so well, you can take a look if you haven't done it yet, but we will see it in the live demo. And well, I would also recommend to take a look to the Vue testing handbook. Here there are many real examples of how to test different Vue features. Okay? Yeah, how to test a computer property, how to simulate user input, how to mock an object. Yeah, there are many different scenarios here, very useful scenarios. Okay. Okay, testing library is also recommended by Vue. It's a recommended tool, and well, I have not used it before, but it seems very interesting. Yeah, it provides like circuits or tools based on the Vue test utils to do things easier and quicker. But I haven't used it yet. But well, if you have time and you are interested, you can take a look. Okay, so okay, well, for the Vue test utils, I have prepared. This is not the live demo yet, but I prefer to do this this part with code. Well, I have prepared many different examples to inspect the options that the mount function has. So, well, remember that all this information is in their website, in the mounting options. I have selected a couple of them, the most interesting for me. And well, first of all, let's take a look to the mount option, to the mount function. Yeah, it accepts few arguments, and the first argument is a Vue component. You can import a component or just create it right here. And the second argument, in the second argument, you can pass options. Okay, I'm not passing any options here. Okay, but we could. And well, this mount function returns a wrapper, which has different methods. These methods are described here. Okay, you have methods to check if wrapper contains a class, if well, to check to test the events emitted, to find elements or components inside the own wrapper, to get the HTML to check if it exists. Well, you have many different methods to pass to the jest matchers. So well, in this example, let me. Well, in this example, we will have this wrapper, this function that belongs to the wrapper, and this is the jest matcher. So this is what we expect, and no, sorry, this is what we expect, and this is the execution. So well, in this case, I have created a component in which its template there is a div with hello world text, and well, if I make it crash, well, here you can see that rich context information that just returns if you have problems with the test, the expected part, the received part, also information about where the error is, also the line. So, well, it is very useful to debug. Well, you can also debug the tests. Well, if you have problems and you don't find any errors, you can use the debugger. Well, here you have all the variables at this point, and here we have a debugger console in which you can execute any command. So, well, you have access to the variables, to the wrapper. Here we can execute all the methods of the wrapper, like I'm executing text, but there are many others. This. Okay. So this will be like our first test, our Hello World test. And now, well, fix it. Okay, and now it works. And well, let's continue with these mounting options that I told you before. Well, the first interesting option for me is the attach to, and well, you can pass an HTML element or the CSS selector to which the component will be mounted, so its parent. And well, I have just found one case in which I had to use it. I was trying to test an scroll behavior, so I needed a parent component. Here we are attaching our component to the document body. So if we execute this, it works. Yeah, notice that this is the view instance of the wrapper, and this is the HTML element of the view instance. Okay, so here we are. Here we have all the properties of HTML element. Okay, so yeah, the test passed, but if we just remove this option, we will notice that it doesn't pass. Okay. Okay. The context. This is intended to be used in functional components. So I have created here a functional component which accepts a prop name. And this is the render function. So this functional component will render my name is and the property wrapped by div tags. Okay. Here we have the mount function, the functional component, and here the options. So if we check the text rendered by this wrapper, okay, this will work. If we change this again, we can check that it doesn't work. Okay. Okay. Next one, local view. This is important. Well, you can create a copy of the view instance with this function. Well, in order to keep the original instance isolated, so you avoid to pollute that instance, which is shared among the rest of the tests. Well, you can use it to install plugins like the router or anything you want. Okay. And well, for this example, I am creating another instance of Vue. I'm passing it to the mount function. And well, if we test with this, well, as I said, this is the Vue instance of the wrapper. This is a matcher from Jest, and this is our instance. If I run it, it works. But if I don't pass anything, it doesn't work. Okay, the instance is not the same. Okay, okay. Let's talk about mocks. Well, this option is intended to be used to replace instance properties, instance methods. Okay, so well, you can mock, for example, the HTTP plugin or the router, also the internalization plugin, whatever you want. Okay. For this example, I have prepared a component in which we're going to render the result of the get total function, which accepts two parameters, amount and price. But notice that there is get total is not defined in this component. So if I try to mount this component without mocking it, yeah, it should fail because the get total function is not a variable. So well, in this test, I'm using the mocks option, and I am defining the get total function. So this should work now. And well, notice the total result, because we can change the implementation, and we can see that the result is different. Okay. Okay. Okay, slots. Well, I have defined a child component here, and I have defined here a parent component or this component, which has a name scope name slot here, a default slot, and another name slot. And the data object contains a property, default title with empathy x as the value. Okay, so well, we can define these slots with with a mount option. Okay. Okay. In this case, I am what? Yeah. Yeah. In this case, I am assigning to the default slot an array which contains the child component defined above, a new component that I just yeah, you can pass you can pass a template here, a title in the title slot another component, and in the footer slot another component. So if we test the output, this should be div title, div child, div new child, and div footer. Okay, and well, I check it here. I didn't use the HTML function because there was a problem with the spaces and the indentation, but yeah, I didn't know exactly how to solve it without yeah doing anything weird. So I prefer to use this directly. Okay, so well, the output is this title, child, new child, and footer. And if we want to define scoped slots, we have to use another different property. Okay, well, this title is the name of the scope below here. Here we have we have access to the scoped variable, and we are defining here the template. So yeah, this should render empathy X, which is the content that we are passing to the title scope. Okay. Okay. Well, steps. Well, we can stop child components in order to fill a gap to make the test pass. But we can implement a component, or we can just set an empty component to make the test pass. So well, again, I have defined here a child component, and the first test is just to test the default behavior and importing this child component in the parent component, and I'm using it here. So this this will render parent and child. Yeah, I didn't say anything, but the text function just renders the text without the tags. Okay, so this is the normal behavior, the default behavior. Okay, in this case, we are overriding the child component with the same child component, so the output should be the same. Okay, works. Here is an example. Yeah, I changed the name of the component. Yeah, in order to show you that we can provide any different implementation. So this is not defined, but we are defining the implementation. And again, to work, we can set instead of passing any implementation, we can just set that we're establishing this component, setting its name to true. And well, this is what I said before. With this, we are filling the gap with no implementation. We are using like an empty component. So in this test, first of all, with another wrapper method, I'm finding I'm trying to find a component with this ref that I have defined here, and with the wrapper method, I am well, testing that it exists, and it is true. Okay. With this aspect, well, the output should be just the parent without any children. So the output should be this. And with this test, well, I would like to show you how is the output of a stub component. So well, notice this prefix that it is add automatically. Okay, so if we run this, it should work. Okay, let me make it crash. Yeah, here you can see the real part received. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Shallow mount. If you want to mount a component which has many dependencies, child components, well, shallow mount function stops all the components automatically. Well, I don't recommend to use it unless it is necessary, because you are experiencing performance issues, because the component won't render the same. I mean, you are stubbing all the child components. So well, I don't know a specific case in which this is useful, but well, here it is. So, well, in this case, calling salon mount instead of mount, we do the same as the previous examples. Okay. Well, finally, I will talk. I want to talk about props data and data. Yeah, I have created again a component which accepts this property today, default Monday. So by default, it should render today is Monday. But we can change these properties and put here whatever we want. It is again a mount option. It is called props data, not props. Here you can pass anything. This will be merged with the component props data object. So notice that. Let me make it pass. Okay, notice that the today property change. And finally, the same for data. Here there is a component which renders today is, and this today is from the data object, not from the properties. For behavior. And again, we can pass this data in the mount options. Yeah, this again will be merged with the components data. Okay. So well, that's everything for the about the mount function. And well, second. Good. Okay. Okay. Before starting the live demo, yeah, there was another question that I would like to answer. Yeah, how to organize the tests with this in mind? Well, it depends on the project architecture, but well, at least I will keep each feature or component tests in different files if it's possible. After that, you can place all the test files within a common test folder like this, which is in this root level. Or you can create many different tests folder, usually with these underscores, okay, near the components, okay. So well, it makes sense to keep these test files close to the implementation files. Well, you have to set a proper name with a proper suffix to identify them by us and by the test runner. I usually leave a spec by default. Well, in any test, you can group release tests with a describe block, and you can also nest these blocks to create a more complex hierarchy of tests. I have prepared also an examples. Well, I just took it from the jest documentation, and well, inside these describe blocks, you can write it or test. It is the same. It depends on how do you want how you want or the way of yeah. Okay, let me give you an example. Well, we can just write test local view, or I can test it should the instance of the local view created. So the sentence is different. I mean, but you can use both of them. Okay. Well, just also provides functions to handle these tests and groups of functions like this. And well, they help us to group functionality together to be executed before or after a test. And well, it is important to know the order, the execution. Well, I'm not Yeah, you can see this example in the repository, because I think that I will need time, so I'm not explaining anything else from this part. And I also have prepared an example for the describe and the nested blocks. Okay. So yeah, I would like to also mention. I would like to also to mention a feature, which is the factory function, and it can help us to organize our tests. Yeah, this is in the view test testing handbook. And well, if you have many different tests that uses the mount function in the same way, using the same properties, etc., you can create a factory function to create the components. Okay, so well, we currently use this in the EmpathyX tests, and we didn't know that it was in this handbook, but we use it, and yeah, it's very useful, um, especially when you want to focus on the test and not, you want to avoid this all this code every time, which will be confusing. Okay, so well, this is also at the end of the slides as a link. Okay, so well, let's start with the live demo. Okay, so before starting with the live demo, well, I would recommend to not focus on the implementation. We should test the public interface and make black box testing, in which, well, we examine the functionality of an application. My mate Javier convinced me many times, and it's better. And yeah, this is what I am going to do in the live demo. Just testing the functionality, the outputs of the components. Okay. So well, for this live demo, I have uh, uh, simulated that we need a new drop-down component. It won't be a drop-down finally, but kind of drop-down. And yeah, I have defined different requirements here in order to simulate or do TDD. So for this live demo, we have to create a component in which root diff has the class dropdown. It contains an ordered list with the class x dropdown list, contain list items with the class x dropdown item. This is just an example, okay? Options are provided as props. Selected option is provided as a property. Selected element has the class following the event convention. It has to emit select event on it and click, and it finally renders a selected option. Okay. Okay, so okay, so we can start here. Okay, 1 second. Okay, so let's start creating here a new components folder. And here I'm going to create a drop-down component. Okay, let me quickly copy this. Okay, and here. Okay, here it is. Okay, so let's create a test folder and create the drop-down test file. Okay. Okay. Well, so the first requirement was that this component should contain well, the root class should contain the class x drop down. Okay, so let's start defining the describe block. Well, I can just pull this drop down. And well, here I prefer to use the it method, and well, it should contain a diff with the class x drop down. Okay. Okay. Well, we can start creating the wrapper and calling the mount function. We have to import it and also the drop down. Okay. Sorry, because I don't have I didn't set up the linter properly. And okay. So, well, we can. Oh, we didn't do the test. Okay. So we can expect. We can use the function classes, which returns or that check for the classes to the wrapper. Passing drop down as the first parameter. Okay. And well, if the class is in the wrapper, it returns true. So if we execute it, if we run it, it should fail. Okay. And now we can start to fix the test and make it run. Let's drop down. Okay. Now the test should work. Yeah, it works. Okay, let's continue with the second requirement. Contain an ordered list with the class x drop down list. Okay, so again, it should contain an ordered list with the drop down. Yeah, I'm following the event convention again. Okay, so it's the same. And well, here, no, well, here, oops, sorry. Here I can find or try to find for an ordered list with this class, and we can check if it is fixed or not. Okay, so this has to be true, and well, again, it doesn't work. Let me quickly check. Okay, 1 second. This is it's fine. Well, so this again, this test doesn't work, and we have to fix it, implementing the requirement. Yeah, now it works, and both works. Okay, let's continue with the next one. Contain list. Okay, the same but for an item. Let me quickly copy this. Oops. Okay, this will be this, this again does not work, and we have to implement it. Okay, now it works, or it should work. Okay, Okay, next requirements are more complex. So, well, options are provided as properties. So, well, for this example, we have to use the mount options. So it should render options provided as prop. Again, we create the wrapper. Well, here we have to simulate that we are passing props to the drop down component with the props data option. Okay. Here we can the name of the property. Yeah, just options, and to keep it simple, just an array of strings. Yeah, let me save this here because we will need it for the test, for the expect. Okay. Well, in this case, we can iterate over. Well, the objective is to have this each option here. So we will have to iterate over each item. So well, we can find the items within the wrapper, and we can get an array, a wrapper array. Let me quickly show you that the wrapper array is not an array of wrappers like an usual array. You have methods here in order to handle this array. So take a look because you might need it sometimes. And for this case, I'm setting in the variable and wrapper find all. Notice that this is not the same, and yeah, I can use here a selector. Yeah. Okay. Okay, cool. But here we can debug to get more information. Okay. 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 There are just one. Okay. Yeah. We are not iterating in the template, but okay, it works. And well, we can iterate over the options stuff. Each option. This will be the on value ABC, and this will be the index of each iteration. What we can here expect that the items wrapper adds this index. Okay, the text will be the option in this iteration. Okay. Okay. I think that it's all. It should not work. Okay, so let's implement it. Well, first we have to define a property. Let's import it. Okay, and what are options, which sorry, which is a string array. And yeah, by default, yeah, I prefer to have an empty array. Okay, and then we can here. Options. Okay, let me quickly. Oh, sorry. Yeah, here we can do it and just render the option. Okay. What else? Well, I think that it's all. Okay, let's execute this. Well, it works. So fine, and okay, and everything is fine here. So well, we can continue with the next requirement, which was selected option is provided as property, and the selected element has the class X dropdown item selected. Okay, so okay. I'm just doing just one test for this. Okay, should have the class X dropdown item selected to the active element passed as prop. Okay. Okay, so again, we can start with, oh, sorry. Mounting the component. Sorry, plus data. And here we can pass the options. So let me move this. Okay. So I don't have to write it for every test. And well, there will be a new property. We can call it selected, and well, we can letter B, for example, the index 1, which is the second option. Let me also options index 1. It will help us to in the expect later. Okay. Okay. So well, we will have to expect that in the wrapper we could find. Oh, sorry. That we could find an element on an hidden element with the class X dropdown item selected, and we will have checked that it exists. So okay, it doesn't work. So this is normal, and then we have to implement it. Okay. Again, have to create a new property. Selected it's a string or null if there are no options selected. Okay, by default null. And and well, for this, I'm going to this is a pattern that we use a lot. And well, I can just we're going to set a dynamic class, and I could just return use here a function, but I prefer to use a computed because the computed functions are catch. So yeah, let me create it. It will be protected. Get computed options, and that's any. Well, for this, I can use, what I'm doing is the options will be this, and I want to return something like this, and this will be the class object that is going to be used here, okay? These options, reduce, ref, parent, the initial, and well, here return the previous. This is the index that A, B, or C, and here the class. So drop down item selected. Well, the condition will be that the current, which is the value A, B, or C, is equal to this selected. Okay. Well, I can just simplify this with this. Okay. And well, above in the component, we have to change this for. Now we are going to use the computed options, and here we will have the computed option and the index which will be an A, B, or C. And now we can pass here computed option. And well, I think that everything. Okay, let me check if there is any error in the. I think that it's not working. Yeah, okay. No errors. Okay. Yeah, I think that everything is okay. And this should work now. Yeah, it works. We can quickly take a look to this. Components. We have a preview of what are we doing. Okay. Yeah. Sorry for this. Errors. Yeah, lots of errors. Second, line 4. Yeah, the key. We can use the option because options are unique. Line 16, one space here. Line 20, one space is required here. Line 28, count 7. But dictionary, but not dictionary. Record string. Maybe it works. And okay, here it is. Okay, and here we can just use it. The thing and a selected option to be just okay. Let's see how it. Okay, Okay, perfect. I would like to check also if, yeah, the element B is selected. We can here down just to have more visibility. Okay, cool. Okay, so well, I think that we can continue with the next requirement. Um, second. Yeah, okay. We can continue with the next one. Okay, the next one, the selected, no, emits the select event on item click. Okay, so again, yeah, it should emit select, not selected event with the option as payload on item click, for example. Okay, here again, we can mount component. And okay, for this, the wrapper method has the wrapper object has a method. The method emit with which we can check all the events that the wrapper has emitted. So the text would be like emitted. Here you can pass the name of the event. Okay, and this returns an array of its emitted event. So we will have to focus on the first token. Okay, and 1 second. Oh, okay, good. And well, this item also returns the payload, but wrapped by but wrapped in an array because it is also a list of arguments. So for this, I'm not using to be, I'm using just equal because I would like to have deep comparison, okay, instead of the to be. Okay, so here, well, again, here we will have a value, and what we can just again use post option start, and we can again create an index. Okay, option index. Then we can change this index. Okay. Well, I think that's all. But before executing this, we have to trigger the click in the element. Okay. So well, for this, we should find the element first. Notice that this is now singular because I will look for the index for the item in this index. So wrapper find all. Drop down item. Again at option at this option index. Okay, and then we can just trigger click. Okay, well, there are some methods like this trigger. There are many others like set props, set data, etc. that provokes a change in the virtual DOM. So we have to wait until view perform this change. Okay. So well, in this case, we don't we don't really mind if we do it or not, because we will just check that the event is emitted. But imagine that we are doing a test in which we trigger the click, but we also want to check if the value passed as prop has changed. This implies a change. This implies a change in the DOM. So we have to wait for this change. But what I recommend to wait always. Okay. So I think that it's maybe this. Okay. This will not work. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I have to pass the data here. Okay. And well, with this test, I'm triggering a click from this wrapper that that will be handled by a method that will emit the event select. Okay, so let's do it. Okay. Emit selected with the option as payload. This is not. I don't know why there is no error here, but this is not fine. Emit selected option string. And here we can meet the select event and the option. Okay, so when we click an item, this event will be called with the option as payload. We could include this in the computed, I think, but I'm not wasting time in this. Okay, we can take a look in the second. Oh, yeah, okay. We can see it here. If I click, no, it's not working.
David, I think you wrote key instead of click.
Oh yeah, the, thank you. Okay, now it works. Perfect. And here you can see the payload. Okay. So the test should work. Yeah, it works. Well, at this point, yeah, I have planned to give you an example of the refactor function, but I don't know if I will have done enough. So I continue with the with this example, and we can talk about the factory function later. Okay, so the last requirement, render selected option. I just want to, sorry, I just want to test the behavior, or how to test a computed property. Okay, again, I'm not going to focus on the implementation. I'm going to focus on the result. Okay, so we can write something like it renders to render a computed selected message, for example. And sorry, here we can mount again the dropdown, and we have to options stop and select, for example, can be the option A. Okay, yeah. Okay, if we check this, we test this. Okay, we can wrapper find, we can place it in a new div. Text drop down selected. Under text will be again index. Okay, and here options tab. Okay, and this won't work. Okay, we can create here a selected. Here we can create a completed property, selected message example, which returns a string, return. This is the value select, for example, the selected value. And here the option selected. Okay. Here. Okay. So now this will work. Nope. Yeah. Sorry. Select value. Okay, now it works. And now we can, if you want to just again test the change, we can change the props of the on wrapper. So we can use this function, which is asynchronous, as I said before, and we can pass the property object. Okay, so select it. Just P. Okay, and well, we can simplify this with this. Proper. And here selected wrapper. And we can again let me just copy this. Okay. And this should not work because, yeah, as I told before, this is an asynchronous method. So we have to wait until the change is done. And now it works. If I change and I introduce any other value, you can see that the received value is okay. So well, yeah, this will be this part of the live demo. I would also like to give you a couple of examples of other features that Jest and Vue tutorials have, but yeah, I didn't know how to put it in this real example. Okay, so yeah, I would like to talk about mocking, fake timers, and also about the fake timers. Yeah, mocking, fake timers, and yeah, that's all. Okay, so well, let's create here another test folder, and I'm going to create tests for the describe build. Okay. Okay. Well, let me quickly implement something different here. Yeah, I would like to imitate. Yeah, I would like to get the options from backend request. So let me quickly create here and options array. Deselected again. String null, not selected. Well, and yeah, that's all. And here, as mounted, well, I set up the Axios model, and I assigned it to the HTTP to the prototype. Okay. So here I'm going to perform a request in order to get the options and update the data object with them. Okay. Let me take this. And well, for this, I'm using Mocha, which let us to mock an API with this address, this port, and well, you can create different endpoints here, but you can return whatever you want. So if you didn't know it, take a look, because it is very powerful. Okay, so if we start the server, let me quickly check that it is working. Okay, here is our response. Okay, I will go here, the options, and well, with the response, yeah, it is with the response, it is swapped in a data object. This is an Axios response. Yeah, I select this to sign. Okay, let me quickly fix this. Okay, so yeah, it's working. Here we are. Here there are the options. If we change them in the, sorry, I don't know what is the okay. If we change it, yeah, it works. Okay, let me quickly come back. So, well, if we want to, well, if we are testing this this component, and well, we don't have access to this request, and we cannot execute this in a test environment, we can mock it. Okay, so this is what we are going to do, and I would like to explain two different methods. With, yeah, first method is done thanks to the mocks option of the mount method of the view test utils. Okay, so well, let's create the wrapper. Let's import these two. Let me quickly. Oh. Okay. Okay. Well, in the mount methods, we can pass mocks option, and here we can mock every method, every property defined in the instance. Okay, so well, here we can mock this. This is just a test. Okay, we can mock this get method, and we can find it like a function that will return a promise. So promise with any data you want to pass to the method. Okay. Notice that we are replacing the whole get and the whole get method without taking care of the request path, or I don't know. This is just a test, okay? Okay, and well, here we can return the response that we want to have in the test. Okay. Okay. So now let's test the response. Well, this is an asynchronous operation, so again we will have to wait, but this time we are not calling any asynchronous method, so we can just wait to the instance nested. Okay. Okay, and oh, sorry. And now we can, yeah, how to test it? Well, we can access to the instance, but well, I prefer to just print the options here. For example, X options, and here we can print this with this, and yeah, here we can look for these options, check the test, and well, we can again. Oops. That's right. Okay, and this will work. Yeah, okay, it works. Well, if I pass something different, you can see that the test doesn't work. Okay. Okay. The other way is thanks to Jest. You can mock the whole model. So let me quickly change this to this. I think I have to import it. Yeah. Okay, and now well, we can mock the access model, and we can implement the functionality of the get function of the get model. So we can use these just features, and here we can do exactly the same. Okay, let me also quickly copy this and solve data options tab, and well, let me quickly create the wrapper, and yeah, the test should be the same, and this will work again. Nope. Yeah, it works. Well, I think that we are almost out of time, so let me please show you another example. Okay, well, well, that's all. If we mock this access model and we assign a just function to the get method, we can also spy and test if this method has been called, how many times has been called, and also the parameters with which has been called. Okay. The other feature is was fake timers. We can simulate in order to test native timers we can simulate the past of the time. So yeah, I prepared this example here in which, well, I just defined a status variable that changes after 500 milliseconds, and well, to test it, you you have to simulate this time. Notice that if we do this with 500 milliseconds, it works. Okay, and yeah, the other thing, I will share it with you in the repository. There is an example of a factory function created for the dropdown, okay, for the dropdown test, in which we have options to create the wrapper, and then we can return the wrapper and different tools to make the test easy to do. Okay, and well, I will finish this session just showing an example of how we work in X components. Okay, yeah, for example, well, you can here see how we organize them, but I would like to show you this simple filter spec. Well, as you can see, we also use this factory pattern in which, well, we don't usually mount the component itself. We used to create a component wrapper which imports this component, this target component, and then we work with the returned wrapper of this factory function. So this is good because well, we can, well, you can see that from this factory function we get many different tools to make this test easier and to avoid repeating ourselves. So we can also, it is also useful for defining slots or defining properties or whatever you want. So well, this is all from my side. Thank you everyone for attending. Thank you to my team, especially to Mavi, who shared with me very interesting content, and thank you all for attending. So I don't know if there are any questions.
I have a question. Well, first of all, great presentation. It was awesome. Could you share the code with us so we could check it if we need some guidance or something? And as the question itself, since you mocked the Axios API, I was wondering how can you mock the fetch app instead? I mean, because, well, API, because when I tried to do it in the mock projects we have to do, since Node doesn't have a fetch API itself, I didn't manage to mock it on my own because I had to kind of download a Node fetch package and then import it, and I just didn't manage to do it.
Do you mean like in this way, in which we mock the whole model?
Yeah.
And if you try it this way, I mean, you just replace the whole model, and you then define functions for this model. So this is like you are removing all the content of the model, and then you are defining these functions in which you can just return whatever you want. So I'm not sure if I don't really understand the question.
I mean, because when I did the project, I used the fetch API, but the problem is that apparently Node doesn't have the fetch API itself. So you have to do some weird stuff to manage to make it work. So that's the problem, because with Axios you can just import it again, but with the fetch API, since JavaScript has it and Node doesn't have it, it's kind of weird.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry. There is also just fetch mock that fully mocks the fetch functionality and gives some helpers for doing this kind of mock API calls in the tests.
Yeah, it's not. You can also, well, not calling this fetch function directly. You can create a method in the view component, and you can then mock this method to return the whatever you want. So you don't have to. You won't have to mock this fetch function directly.